Throughout this week, we have been discussing why do bad things happen to God's people. And I want us to again shift away from the question of why, and focus on how to respond when bad things happen. And yesterday we talked about faith being a fight. And today we're going to talk about faith being like you being in a race. You know, the Apostle Paul says this in 1 Corinthians 9:24-27. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? You see, the Apostle Paul here is asking a question back. He's saying to someone who asks, why did bad things happen to me? I'm one of God's children. He says, well, let's ask this question. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one receives the prize? So he goes on to say this, so run that you may obtain it. He's encouraging us to run in our faith. Now think about this for a moment. If you're running in a race and suddenly you come to an uphill, there's an uphill battle you have to run through. You're not going to stop and think, well, why isn't this road flat? You're going to stop and think, okay, I've got to now put some more effort to running up that hill. And the point is, that's what it's like with faith very often, is when we face an uphill battle, don't just stop and sit down. Say to yourself, I'm going to fight this battle. I'm going to run this race. And what does that look like? It doesn't look like self-effort and striving so much as it does look like making the choice to focus on what God has said about your situation. Focus on what Jesus has done about your situation and hold on to it. And the more you hold on to it, the more you're running your race. The Apostle Paul goes on to say this in Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, stand firm. And again, the Apostle Paul is talking about wrestling here, like a wrestling match. You're going to have to wrestle with some stuff. And that doesn't mean you're failed or God's failing you. That means you're in a faith fight. You're in a faith race in this moment in time. But he promises us that we can be strong in the Lord. We can look to him and he can strengthen us. So don't give up if you have experienced something bad. Fight that faith fight. Run that faith race. Take on that faith wrestle through looking and seeing what God has said about your situation and what God has done about your situation. And remember, you're highly favored and you're deeply loved.